In this class, we're going to go over questions on indirect variation. Okay, what exactly do we mean by indirect variation? A variation whereby one of the quantity increases while the other decreases. That kind of variation is what we call indirect variation. You understand? Listen to the explanation again. When we talk about indirect variation, it is a kind of variation or kind of a relationship that exists between two quantities in which one of the quantity increases while the other decreases. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, that kind of variation is what we call indirect variation. Okay, now how do you understand what is meant by indirect variation? Let's look at example. Okay, and another name for indirect variation is inverse. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Inverse variation. Okay, now let's look at question number 1. If y varies inversely as x and y equals to 2 when x equals to 3, find y when x equals to 6. Okay, now let's look at the question. Y varies inversely. What is the meaning of inverse? Inverse simply means the reciprocal of a number. You understand? For example, let's say we have a. The inverse of a is what? 1 over a. Do you understand? Okay, if I have b, the inverse of b is what? 1 over b. Do you understand? Okay, now back to the question. If y varies inversely as x, so y varies, this is the variation sign, inversely as x, that means we are going to have 1 over x. Do you understand? Okay, now, and y is 2. We are given that y is 2 when x is 3. When x is 3, find y. We are asked to find y when x equals to 6. When x equals to 6. Okay, so how do we solve this question? Well, to solve this question, with respect to what we've learned in our previous class on direct variation, the first step is that we have to get the constant. You understand? Now, we have to change this variation sign to an equals to sign. And because variation talks about the degree of differences between two quantities, so if I want to change this variation sign to an equals to sign, it is necessary that I introduce a proportionality constant. You understand? The goals of the proportionality constant is to tell us the degree of variation that exists between y and x. Do you understand? Okay, so I'm going to have y equals to k multiplied by 1 over x. Okay, so y equals to k over x. Do you understand? Don't forget that I told you k is just a constant. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Which tells us the degree of variation, the degree of differences that exist between the variable x and y. So having understand that, we can now solve for the value of x, for the value of k from the value of y and x that we have been given. We've been given that y equals to 2 when x equals to 3. So I'm going to replace y as 2. So I'm going to have 2 equals to k all over x. X is what? 3. So I'm going to have this over 3 and this over 1. So you are going to take the cross product. K will be equals to 6. Now, having gotten the value of k as 6, we can proceed to get the value of y when x is equals to 6. Okay, so how do we solve for the value of y when x equals to 6? It's simple. All you have to do is that, because, listen to me, listen very carefully. You know that y equals to k over x. Y equals to k over x. And from what we are given here, we have already gotten the value of k as what? K as 6. So I'm going to have y equals to what? 6 over x. Is that not it? Okay. Now, with respect to what we have here, this is the relationship between y, x. Are you getting it? This is the relationship that exists between y and x. So when x is equals to 6, I can easily get the value of y. All I have to do is that I just have to replace the value of x as the value that I'm given. So I'm going to have y equals to 6 over 6. So y equals to 1. Hence, when x is equals to 6, y equals to 1. When y is equals to 2, x equals to 3. Do you understand? Okay, let's look at one more example. If t varies as 1 over x squared, given that t equals to 9, when s equals to 10, find t if s equals to 6, and find s if t equals to 4. Okay, now we are given that, please pay attention, we are given that t varies as 1 over s squared. Okay, we are given that t equals to 9, t equals to 9, and s equals to 10. S equals to 10. We are asked to find okay, we have to find t if s equals to 6, and we have to find s if t equals to 4. Okay, now how do we solve for the value of let's first start with the first question. We have to find t when s equals to 6. Well, because we've been given the mathematical expression, all you have to do now is that we just have to change this variation sign to an equals to sign, and because of that we have to introduce a proportionality constant. Don't forget, I told you the works of a proportionality constant. Okay, so here I'm going to have t equals to k over s squared. Is that not it? Yes. Now, having gotten here, we need the value of the constant. Okay, so for t equals to 9, I'm going to have 9 equals to k over s squared. Now x squared is what? S is 10, so I'm going to have 10 squared. Okay, now 9 is equals to k all over 100. So k is equals to what? 9 multiplied by 100, right? Yes. So I'm going to have k equals to 900. Now, having gotten the value of k as 900, we can now get the value of t when s is 6, because we have gotten our proportionality constant. Okay, so t is that is for question A. When s equals to 6, we have to find the value of t. To get the value of t, having known that this is the relationship that exists between t and s, that is t equals to the proportionality constant that we introduce when we change this variation sign to the equals to sign, t equals to k over s squared. You understand? So I'm going to have t equals to, now because the value of k have been known as what? 900. So I'm going to have t equals to 900 all over s squared. Now, when we are given that s equals to 6, I'm going to have t equals to 900 over 6 squared. T equals to 900 all over 36. Now, t equals to 900. Now, please pay attention. 900 divided by 36. That will give us 25. You understand? So, t equals to 25. The value of t when s is equals to 6 is 25. Now, let us get b. For question B, we are asked to find s if t equals to 4. To get the value of s when t equals to 4, since t equals to k over s squared, so t equals to 4, I'm going to replace t as 4. 4 equals to k. K is what? 900. So I'm going to have 900 over s squared. The next step here is that I'm going to take the cross product. Okay, this over 1, I'm going to have 4s squared equals to 900. Now, to get the value of x, I have to divide both sides by 4. When I'm done with that, I'm going to take the square root. So I'm going to have this over 4 and this over 4. S squared equals to 900. Oh, now listen, please, I want you to pay attention here. 900 divided by 4, that will give us what? 225, right? Yes. Now, so I'm going to have s squared is equals to 200 and s squared is equals to 225. Okay. Now, to get the value of s, I have to take the square root of both sides. So I'm going to have the square root of s, the square root of s squared. So s is equals to 15. So when t is equals to 4, the value of s is 15. Oh, so s is what? Is 15. Do you understand? Okay, so now these are the basic important things that you have to know about indirect variation or inverse variation. The first thing is that when we talk about inverse variation, it is the relationship that exists between quantity in which one of the quantity increases, the other quantity decreases. A typical example of this kind of relationship is in the law of demand. You understand? Law of demand says that the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. That is, when the price of a product is high, the consumer, the people that are the buyer, will not be buying at a larger quantity. Do you understand? Okay, in that kind of relationship that exists between the demand of a quantity and the price of that quantity, we can talk about that. We can say that it is an inverse relationship. Do you understand? So an inverse relationship or indirect relationship or inverse variation or indirect variation is a kind of variation in which as one of the quantity increases, the other quantity decreases. Do you understand? We can test based on this relationship that we have here. Please listen. The relationship that is connecting y and x in the first question is y equals to 6 over x. You understand? Now, let us increase the value of s. We are going to discover that the value of y will decrease. Okay. Now, when x is what? When x is 6, you can see that the value of y is 1. Let us increase to x to 7. When x to 7, we are going to have y equals to 6 over 7, right? Yes. 6 over 7 will give us a decimal point. because it is an improper fraction. So you can see now, so as one of the variable or the quantity increases, the other decreases. That kind of relationship is what we call indirect variation. Are you getting it? Okay, we are going to look at more examples. Let's consider this question on variation. If P is inversely proportional to Q and P equals to 5 when Q equals to 4, what is the value of Q when P equals to 25? Okay, we are given that if P is inversely proportional to Q, so you can see now that is indirect variation. P is inversely proportional to Q, okay, and P is 5. P equals to 5 and Q equals to 4. Okay, we are asked to find the value of Q. Find Q when P is equals to 25. When P is equals to 25. Okay, now how do we solve this question? Well, to solve this question, the first step is that you have to change this variation sign to an equals to sign. So we are going to have P equals to K over Q. Do you understand? Where K is the proportionality constant. Don't forget, we've learned that in our previous class. Okay, so if you missed that class, kindly check the description or the first comment to check. Click on that link to watch the full class of this video. Okay, so we are going to have P equals to K over Q. Now, having gotten this, we can get the value of K based on the information about P and Q that we are given. So since P is 5 here, I'm going to have 5 equals to K over Q. Q is 4, so I'm going to have this over 4. Hence, K equals to 5 times 4 equals to what? 20. Now, having gotten the value of K as 20, we can easily get the value of Q when P is 25. All we have to do is that, since we know that K is equals to 20, I'm going to have P equals to 20 over Q. This is the relationship, this is the equation connecting P and Q. P equals to 20 over Q. Now, I'm going to substitute the value of P as 25. So I'm going to have 25 equals to 20 over Q. Do you understand? Okay, so Q equals to what? 25Q equals to what? 20. So I'm going to have Q equals to what? 20 over 25. That is dividing both sides by 25. Okay, so Q equals to what? 4 over 5. Okay, so that is the value of Q when P is 25. Okay, now let's move to the next question. T varies inversely as 1 over S and T is 12. T is 2 when S is 60. Find A, the relationship between T and S. B, the value of T when S is 90. C, the value of S when T is 2.5. Okay, let's solve that question. Let's solve that question. T varies as 1 over S. Okay, T is equals to 2. T equals to 2 when S is 60 and S is equals to 60. Find A, the relationship between T and S. Okay, that's the first question. Now, the relationship between T and S is the equation connecting T and S. Do you understand? Okay, so if you can get the equation connecting T and S, we are good to go. Okay, now to get the relationship, to get the equation connecting T and S, the first step is that we have to change this derivation sign to an equals to sign. Okay, so I'm going to have T equals to K all over S. That is K times 1 over S. K times 1 over S is also the same thing as what? K over S. So I'm going to have this is equals to K over X. Now T is 2. So I'm going to have 2 equals to K over 60. If you take the cross product, you're going to have K equals to 120. Now, having gotten the value of K as 120, the relationship that exists between T and S is what? T equals to K over S. Now, K is 120. So I'm going to have 120 over S. That is the solution to the first question. Okay. Now, we are asked to find the value of the value of T when S is 20. Okay, when S is 90. Okay. Now, don't forget that the relationship between them is what? T equals to 120 over S. Now, we can get the value of T when S is 20. All you have to do is that just replace the value of S as 20, as 90 in this relationship. You understand? This is the equation connecting them. So I'm going to have T equals to 120 over S. S is 90, okay? So I'm going to have T equals to the lowest term, T equals to 4 over 3, okay? Because 120 divided by 90 is 4 over 3, okay? Now, having gotten the value, that is the second question, B. Now for question C, we are asked to find the value of s when t is equals to 2.5. T equals to 2.5. We are asked to find the value of s. Okay, how do we get the value of s? Well, to get the value of s, all you have to do now is that, okay, let me write this very well. 2 number 1 over 2. To get the value of s, all you have to do now is that just go back to the equation connecting t and s, which is what? T equals to 120 over 20, 1 over 120 over s. Just bring it out. T equals to 120 all over s. Now, because we've been given the value of t as what? 2.5, okay? So we can get the value of s. 2.5 is also the same thing as what? 5 over 2. So I'm going to have 5 over 2 equals to what? 120 over s. Do you understand? So I can take the cross product from this side. I'm going to have 5 times s is equals to what? 120 multiplied by 2. 120 times 2 is what? This is s, not x. 120 multiplied by 2 is what? 240. So I'm going to have 240 here. So the next step is to divide both sides by what? 5. This over 5 and this over 5. Okay? 240 divided by 5 is what? 48. So I'm going to have s equals to 48. The final answer is 48. Okay? So the value of s when t is 2.5 is 48. Do you understand? Okay? Let's consider the following question on variation. Y is inversely proportional to x squared. When y equals to 10, x equals to 2. What is the value of y when x equals to 10? Okay, let's go. We have y is inversely proportional to x squared. Y is inversely proportional to x squared. That is the mathematical expression for that statement. Now, we are given that when y equals to 10, x equals to 2. That's it. Now, we are asked to find the value of y when x equals to 10. Okay? So, how do we solve this question? Well, if you are part of our previous class, you will discover that the first step is to change this variation sign to an equals to sign. And because if that will happen, we are going to introduce a proportionality constant. I've already explained the reason. So, if you missed our previous class, our first class on variation, kindly check the description of this video and make sure you watch those classes. Okay? Now, having done that, we're going to have y equals to k over x squared. Okay? Now, we are given that y equals to 10. So I'm going to have 10 equals to k, which is what? We didn't know it. We have to get the value of k first, which is the proportionality constant. So s squared, s is 2. So I'm going to have 2 squared here. So I'm going to have 10 equals to what? K over 4. So k equals to what? 10 times 4. 10 times 4 is what? 40. So the value of k is 40. Now, having gotten the value of k as 40, we can proceed to calculate the value of y when x equals to 10. Okay? All you have to do is that just substitute the value of substitute the value of x as 10 in this equation. Okay? Y equals to k over x squared. Y equals to what? K? 40. I'm going to have 40 over x squared. This is the relationship that is connecting between y and x squared. This is the relationship. Now, to get any value of x, we can just substitute the value of y as anything. And to get any value of y, we can just substitute the value of x as anything. Now, we are asked to find the value of y when x is 10. So I'm going to have y equals to 40 over 10 squared. So y equals to 40 all over 100. Do you understand? Okay? Now, having gotten to that point, y equals to, reduce it to the lowest time, we're going to have 2 over 5. Okay? That is the value of y. Okay? Now, for the next question, please kindly pay attention. The intensity high of illumination given by a projector varies inversely as the square of the distance of its lamp on the screen from the screen. If the projector is 20 meters from the screen when the intensity is 2.5, find the distance when the intensity is 62.5. Okay? Now let us interpret the question. We are given that the intensity high of illumination given by a projector varies inversely as the square of the distance. So varies inversely as the square of the distance. Now we're going to represent the distance as d. Okay, so I'm going to have 1 over d squared. Do you understand? Okay, now having done this, let's proceed. If the projector is 20 meters from the screen when the intensity is 2.5, the projector is 20 meters from the screen. That means that the distance between the projector and the screen is 20 meters. And having been told, we have been foretold that the distance is what? The illumination is inversely proportional, intensity of illumination is inversely proportional to the distance. So I'm going to have D equals to what? D equals to 20 meter, right? Now, and the screen, and from the screen, when the intensity is 2.5, so I equals to 2.5. Okay, we are asked to find the distance when the intensity is 62.5. We are asked to find the distance. We don't know the distance when the intensity is 62.5, when I is equals to 62.5. Okay, now we cannot solve this question directly without introducing a proportionality constant, and I've already told you the goals of a proportionality constant. It measures the degree of differences between our variable. You get what I'm trying to say? The variable here are intensity and the distance. Okay, so let's go. Let us introduce the proportionality constant. I'm going to have I equals to K over D squared. Okay, now having done this, we are given that I is what? 2.5. I'm going to have 2.5 equals to K over D squared. Now we've been given that D is what? 20. So I'm going to have all over 20 squared. Okay, are we all there? Yes. From this point, we can take the cross product. Okay, I'm going to have K equals to 2.5 multiplied by 20 squared. What's the square of 20? The square of 20 is 400. So I'm going to have K equals to 2.5 multiplied by 400. Okay, 2.5 multiplied by 400, that is 1000. So I'm going to have K equals to 1000. Okay, now having gotten the value of K as 1000, we can get the value of D when I is 62.5, because we've known the value of K. So I'm going to have I equals to, now K over D squared will be 1000 over D squared. This one that you see here is the equation connecting I and D. That is, if we know any value of I or D, we can easily get the other value. For example, we are given the value of I as 62.5. We are asked to find the value of D. All you have to do is that just substitute the value of I as 62.5 in this equation that is connecting I and D. Okay, so I'm going to have 62.5 is equals to 1000 all over D squared. Okay, so 62.5 D squared equals to 1000. What I did was that I just take the cross product, you understand, because 62.5 can be written as 62.5 over 1. So, and if you take the cross multiplication, you are going to have 62.5 times D squared and 1000 times 1. Okay, so having gotten to this point, D squared is equals to 1000 all over 62.5. Okay, I'm very sure you understood it, you understand it to that point. Now 1000 divided by 62.5, the answer is 16. Okay, so I'm going to have D squared is equals to 16. Okay, so D equals to the square root of 16. The square root of 16 is what? 4. So when I is 62.5, the D, which is the distance between the distance of its lamp from the screen. So when I is 16.5, intensity is 62.5. Sorry, when intensity is 62.5, the D is what? Is 4. Do you understand? You can put meter. Okay, the unit is meter, so the distance is 4 meter. That's a solution to the question. Let's consider the following question on indirect variation. If R varies inversely as the square of h and R equals to 6 when h equals to 4, find R when h equals to 9, find h when R equals to 8, and find h in terms of R. Okay, now we are given this question. R varies inversely as the square of h. Okay, R varies inversely as the square of h. Do you understand? Okay, now we are given that R is 6 and h is 4. R equals to 6. Okay, as the square of h. This is supposed to be h. Okay, and h equals to 4. Now we are asked to find the value of R when h equals to 9. Okay, before we can solve this question, the first step is that you have to change this variation sign to an equals to sign. Do you understand? And to do that, you have to introduce the proportionality constant. Okay, now the goals of the proportionality constant is to tell us the degree of differences that exist between R and h. Do you understand? Okay, so for this, I'm going to have R equals to k all over h squared. Do you understand? Because if I said r varies directly, r varies inversely as h squared, that means that if I want to write an expression with constant, I'm going to have r equals to k multiplied by 1 over h squared, and k multiplied by 1 over h squared will give us k over h squared. Do you understand? So that's why I have this. Now let us get the value of k. To get the value of k, just substitute the value of r as 6 and h as 4. So I'm going to have 6 equals to k all over 4 squared. Do you understand? Okay. For this, I'm going to have 6 equals to k all over 16, right? Yes. Now, from this point, I can take the cross product. I can take the cross product of this fraction. So I'm going to have 6 over 1 here. So k is equals to 16 multiplied by 6. 16 multiplied by 6 is 96. So I'm going to have k equals to 96. Now, having gotten the value of k, we can proceed to calculate the first question. We can proceed to solve the first question. That is question A. We are asked to find the value of r when h is 9. We are asked to find the value of r when h is 9. Now, to get the value of r when h is 9, don't forget that the relationship that exists between r and h is what? R equals to k over h squared. And we've already gotten the value of k as 96. So I'm going to have r equals to k, which is 96 all over h squared. Now, we are asked to find the value of r when h is 9. Value of r when h is equals to 9. Now, how do we get the value of r when h is 9? All you have to do is that just substitute the value of h as 9 in this relationship, okay? So I'm going to have r equals to 96 all over 9 squared, right? So I'm going to have r equals to 96 all over 9 times 9 is 81. So I'm going to have 96 over 81. Do you understand? Okay. Now let's proceed to the second question. Well, you can leave your answer in fraction and you can proceed to take it to decimal. R is equals to that should be 1.185. Okay. So you can leave the answer like this, and you can, if you want it in decimal, you can put like that. Okay, now, having gotten the value of the first question, the second question, we are asked to find the value of h. We are asked to find the value of h when r is equals to 8. The value of h when r is equals to 8. It's simple. All you have to do is that just substitute the value of r as 8 in this relationship. You understand? Okay, so for this I'm going to have, since r equals to 96 all over h squared, right? Now r is 8. I'm going to have 8 equals to 96 all over h squared. So 8h squared is equals to 96. That is, I take the cross product of 96 over h squared and 8 over 1. Do you understand? Okay, now to get the value of h, we have to divide both sides by 8. Do you understand? And 96, okay, this over 8 and this over 8. So I'm left with what? H squared. H squared is equals to 12. You understand? Because 96 divided by 8 will give us 12. Now, to get the value of h, you have to take the square root of both sides. Okay? So I'm going to have this and this. So the value of h is equals to the square root of 12 is 2 root 3. That is, 12 is what? 4 times 3, right? 4 times 3. Now, h is equals to square root of 4 is what? 2. That is square root of 4 times square root of 3, So h is equals to square root of 4 is what? 2. I'm going to have 2 multiplied by root 3. That is what? 2 root 3. Do you understand? Okay. So that is the solution to that second question under that question. Okay. Now we are asked to find h in terms of r. We are asked to find the value of h in terms of r. Well, to get the value of h in terms of r, all you have to do is that just express h, make h the subject of the relation in this equation. Do you understand? That is the meaning of that statement. Okay, so we have, please listen, we have r equals to 96 all over h squared, right? Now, if I take the cross product, that is question C. If I take the cross product, I'm going to have 96 times 1 multiplied by r. 96 times 1 is equals to r multiplied by h squared. So I'm going to have h squared multiplied by r equals to 96, right? So divide both sides by r. So I'm going to have this over half, and this over half. So h squared is equals to 96 all over half. Now to get the to express h in terms of r, I'm going to make I'm going to take the square root of both sides so that I can eliminate this square. I'm going to have the square root of this and the square root of this. So h is equals to the square root of 96 all over half. 96 over half. So that is the solution to the third question there. Okay, let's proceed to the next question. If y varies inversely as the square root of x and y equals to 5 when x equals to 16, find y if x equals to 100 and find x if y equals to 60. Okay, so let us express the statement that we are given mathematically. We are given that y varies inversely as the square as the square root of x. So y varies inversely. I told you in our previous class that inversely simply means the reciprocal. You understand? Okay, so y varies inversely as the square root of x. Now this is the mathematical representation of that statement. Okay, so having done this, we are given that y equals to 5, y equals to 5 and x equals to 16. Okay, we are asked to find y when x is equals to 100. Find y when x is equals to 100, and we are asked to find x when y equals to 60. Okay, now before we can solve any of this question, we have to first change these variation signs to an equals to sign, and also we have to to do that we have to introduce a proportionality constant. And if we introduce a proportionality constant, we have to solve for that value. You understand? We have to get the value of the proportionality constant. Okay, so let's do that. Y will be equivalent to k all over 1 k over root of x. Do you understand? I'm very sure you understood the reason why we introduce k, and also what happens to the value of y and as x increases. You understand? Okay, now having introduced a proportionality constant, you can now solve for the proportionality constant from the first values of y and x that we are given. Okay, we are given that y equals to 5, so I'm going to replace it as 5 equals to k. We don't know the value of k, which is what we are looking for right now. X is 16, so I'm going to have the square root of 16. Okay, now for this I'm going to have 5 equals to k all over 4, right? Now having gotten to this point, you can get the value of k by making k the subject of the formula. K will be equals to 5 times 4. K equals to 5 times 4, so k equals to 20. Okay, now having gotten the value of k, we can express the equation connecting y and x as this. Y equals to k. K is now 20 over root of x. Do you understand? This is the equation connecting y and x. Now we can now proceed to solve for the value of a and b. Okay, now we can now solve for question a and question b. We are asked to find the value of y when x is 100. So don't forget that from this relationship, y equals to what? 20 over root of x. You might be wondering where I got 20. 20 is the value of k. You understand? So that's how I got the 20 that I have here. Now y equals to 20 all over root of x. Now to get when x is 100, y will be equivalent to 20 all over the square root of 100. The square root of 100 is 10, so I'm going to have 20 all over 10. The final answer for y is 2. So when x is 100, y is 2. Do you understand? Okay, now we are asked to find the value of x when y is 60. Well, to do that, just replace the value of x as 60 in this relationship. So when x when y is 60, we are asked to find the value of x when y is 60. So I'm going to replace the value of y as 60 in this relationship. So I'm going to have 60 is equals to 20 all over root of x. Okay, so we take the cross product, that is cross multiply. I'm going to have 60 root x. 60 root x is equals to 20. Okay, root x is equals to 20 all over 60. That is, I divided both sides by 60. Okay, so I'm going to have root of x is equals to 1 over 3, right? Because 20 divided by 60 is what? 1 over 3 in fraction, okay? Now, to get the value of x, you have to square both sides, right? So let us square both sides. This squared and this squared, so that I can eliminate the square root on the top of x, okay? So x is equals to 1 over 3 squared. 1 over 3 squared simply means 1 over 3 multiplied by 1 over 3, okay? So, and that will give us 1 over 9. So, the value of x when y is 60 is 1 over 9. Do you understand? If you have any question, let me know, okay? If you don't have any question, we can proceed to the next question. Inversely as the rate R of pumping. If a pump can empty a tank in 2.5 hours at a rate of 1,514.2 liters per minute, how long will it take to empty a tank of 1,892.7 liters per minute? Okay, let's interpret the question. The time t required to empty a tank varies inversely as the rate. Okay, time t varies inversely as the rate. You can see now. Okay, if a pump can empty a tank in 2.5 hours, you can see. So the first time that we're given is 2.5 hours. Okay, at the rate of 1,514.2 liters per minute. So the R is 1,514.2 liters per minute. You can see now. How long will it take to empty a tank of 1,892.7 liters per minute? How long will it take? Okay, we have to find the time when the rate is what? 1,892.7 liters per minute. Okay, this is what you have to find. Listen to the question. Pay attention to the question carefully, okay? Now listen. We are given that the time required to empty a tank varies inversely as the rate of pumping. This is the time. This is the mathematical expression for that statement. T varies inversely as R. You can see. Now we are given that the time required to empty a tank of 1,514.2 liters per minute. The time taken is what? 2.5 hours. We are now asked to find the time it takes to empty a tank of 1,892.7 liters per minute. You can see now. Now, I told you that if you are dealing with a question on variation, you have to first change this variation sign to an equals to sign. And if you are going to do that, you have to introduce the proportionality constant. Okay. Now let's go. For this, I'm going to have T equals to K all over R. Okay. Now, having done this, we can determine the value of K with respect to the first two parameters that were given in the question. We are given the time in 2.5 hours and the rate as 1,514.2. Now, because now the rate is in liters per minute, so we have to convert these hours to minutes. Do you understand? So let's go. You know that 1 minute, 1 hour is equal to what? 60 minutes. You understand? So that means that 2.5 hours will be equals to 2 multiplied by 60 plus 30. Okay, that is what? 2 times 60 is 120. 120 plus 30 is what? 150. So I'm going to have 150 minutes. Do you know how I got this? Listen. If 1 hour is 60 minutes, 2 hours will be what? 60 times 2, right? That is 120 minutes. And half an hour will be what? 1 over 2 multiplied by 60 minutes. That is 30. That's why I got 2 times 60, which is 2 hours, plus 30, which is half an hour. Do you understand? Because we are given the time in 2.5 hours. So we have to convert to minutes. So I have 150 minutes. Okay. Now, having done that, we can now proceed to solve the question. Now, the time, listen very carefully. The time is 150 minutes. 150 minutes is equals to, okay, well, it's not necessary because the minutes here is going to cancel the minutes, okay? So 150 is equals to K. We don't know the value of K. That's what we want to determine. K over R. The rate is what? 1,514.2, okay? So to get the value of K, what are you going to do? Well, to get the value of K, just take the cross product, okay? So you can rewrite 150 as 150 over 1. Okay, I'm going to have k equals to 150 multiplied by 1514.2. Okay, so 150 multiplied by 1514.2, that is 227,130. 227,130. That is the value of k. Now, having gotten the value of k as this, we can now proceed to calculate the time when the rate is 1882.7 liters per minute. So, with respect to this relationship, I'm going to have t equals to what? K over half. Now, k is what? 227,130. So, I'm going to have t equals to 227,130 over half. Now, we can now get the value of t when R is what? 1892.7 liters. So the time is equals to 227,130 all over half. Now R is what? This. I'm going to have over 1,000. Let me use black marker. 1,892.7. Okay. So the time is equals to, okay, divided by 1,892.7, that is 120. Okay, so 120. You can see now. So the time taken to empty a tank of 1,892.7 liters per minute is 120 minutes. Okay, now this is minutes. Well, you can still change this to hours. Okay, to change this to hours, just divide it by 60. You understand? Because I've already told you before that 1 hour is equals to 60 minutes and 2 hours is what? 120 minutes. And so for this, you can put it in hour, 120 minutes or 2 hours. Okay, so if you put your answer like this, you got the answer. Okay, so let's proceed to the next question. If y varies inversely as the square of x, find the ratio at which y is changed if x increases in the ratio 4:3. Okay, now listen very carefully. We are given that y varies inversely as the square of x. We are asked to find the ratio at which y is changed if x increases in the ratio 4:3. Okay, now look at this question. How do we solve this question? We have x increases in this ratio. In dealing with this question, let us first change the variation sign to equals to sign. That we give by doing that, we have to introduce a proportionality constant. So I'm going to have y equals to k all over x squared, right? Now I want you to pay attention. We have x as these values. Let's call this one x1, let's call this one x2. Okay, now let us determine the value of y when x1 when x is 4 and the value of y when x is 3. So let's go. The value of y when x is 4, when x equals to 4, the value of y will be y equals to k over, now we are going to replace x as 4, so don't forget. So I'm going to have 4 squared, so y equals to k over 16, right? Yes. Now let us determine the value of y when x is also 3. Okay, now the value of y when x is 3 will be equals to, okay, when x is equals to 3, we are going to have y equals to k over 3 squared, right? Yes. I'm going to have y equals to k all over 9. Hence, the value of y when x is 3 is k over 9. Now, having done this, don't forget that we are looking for the ratio at which y increases. The ratio at which y change when x increases from 4:3. Okay, so now this is the value of y when x is when x is 4, and this is the value of y when x is 3. So let's call this one y1, let's call this one y2. Okay, now y1 ratio y2, y1 ratio y2 is equals to k over 16, which is y1, k over 16 ratio, oh sorry, it's not division though, ratio k over 9, ratio k over 9, right? Now, ratio simply means division. So I'm going to have y1 over y2 is equals to k over 16 divided by k over 9, right? So for this, I'm going to have k over 16. If this division sign changes to multiplication sign, we're going to have multiply by 9 over k, right? So divided by that k can cancel that k. So we are left with what? 9 over 16, right? So y1, y over y2, y1 over y2 equals to 9 over 16. Now, so y1 ratio y2 is equals to 9 ratio 16. Okay? Hence, the ratio at which y changes is 9 ratio 16. Do you understand? And let me give you the validity of this answer. I told you that when we start this class that in the beginning of this class that inverse variation or indirect variation, as one quantity increases, the other decreases. You can see, so y decreases as x increases. You understand? X increases in this ratio and y decreases in this ratio. Do you understand? Okay, so if you have any question regarding what we've learned in this class, let me know, okay? For you.
Before you go, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also make sure you like and share the video to your friends, okay? And also don't forget to give me feedback. Tell me what you learned in the video. Tell me what you learned in the course of the class. Tell me what you don't understand also. And in addition, tell me the topics that you want to learn, the topics that you don't understand, okay? God will help you in your forthcoming exam. See you in the next class.